Blog Talk Radio. Today is Monday, April 25th, 2016, and this is Foxology Today. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host, bidding you a happy Monday and, of course, a happy week ahead. We're always saying happy this and happy day and happy holidays and happy this and that, but, you know, it's a good thing to be happy. And you know what I've learned? I've learned you got to choose to be happy, because on any given day, amidst all the hustle and bustle and twists and turns and insanity and your happiness and joy could possibly can tend to get lost, and stuff will come and steal your joy. And you know what I say about all that? I say go get your happiness back. Go looking for your happy. You know, you might expect it if you would go looking for it. So go looking for it like you're looking for a treasure, like you're looking for gold and diamonds, so until you find it. And once you find it, keep it. Choose to be happy and stay happy. I believe you should lock it up inside you so that when ishy stuff shows up, and it will show up unannounced and in many crazy forms, it may perpetrate, but it can't penetrate unless you let it. Yeah, that's true and right now. Go ahead and put that under your hat today and in your heart, and see, don't I know exactly what I'm talking about? Yes, indeed. And while we're on the subject of happiness in your heart, we're talking about love today. Yeah, love and relationships makes my heart feel happy. Just saying those two words together, because when you're in a love relationship that's really right, that's a combination that's a true delight to the soul, and I know I'm right about it. My guests today know quite a bit about that, too. Today I'm talking with Zara Green and Alfred Edmond Jr. They are a dynamic husband and wife team, a power couple, authors and entrepreneurs, loving in the grown zone, and A to Z personal growth enterprises, and they give some real up in your life, in your face, grown up guidance and real deal advice on having and handling relationships with both caution and tender loving care. I'm so happy to have them talking with me today. Welcome, Zara and Alfred.
Thank you very much. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, I'm going to have you guys just I wish I could really mean this when I said itty bitty, but you guys got a lot going on, and you have some, I tell you, stuff that people need to know why we can put you in a category of expert. Alfred and Zara, share a little bit about your background and how you came together on the relationship projects.
Okay, let's see if we can put this in a nutshell. I've been teaching personal development and personal growth for over 20 years. So everything I've ever done, it doesn't matter what stage I've been assigned to or what I'm teaching, then I always go back to personal growth and lace some personal responsibility in it. And we learn about personal responsibility when it comes to careers and every other aspect of life, but never when it comes to relationships. Somehow, by chance, we just expect things to go well. And when Alfred and I came together, he was teaching financial responsibilities, and it was just a natural thing. Our conversations always ended up back to relationship responsibility. So it was natural for us to start the Grown Zone Twitter page 3 years ago, and from that became our relationship education projects as part of our business, A to Z Personal Growth.
Yeah, most people know me as a business and personal financial journalist. I'm in my 30th year at Black Enterprise. I've been the host of Money Matters on American Urban Radio Networks for about 5 years now. What I've learned over the years, both in my personal experience as well as by observation, that usually when someone destroys their finances, their businesses, or their careers, or they fail to achieve their potential in those areas, it is rooted in personal decisions, relationship choices that were poor or ill-considered, and our lack of personal growth. And so from our respective areas of expertise, Zara and I's paths crossed, and we realized that we were addressing the exact same issues just from two different areas of expertise.
Well, I know one thing. I have seen you and Zara on social media for several years now, and I just have loved watching you both. And it's so obvious. I have to just give, I know Zara loves her some Alfred, but I tell you, the way you come across when you are talking about her, there is no doubt about the huge admiration and how much you adore her, and I love that. I love that.
I do.
But it's real. And it's how we live.
I know it.
Every day.
I know it is.
It's wonderful.
And I have to say this too, because I saw this blog post that you guys put out yesterday, and you said one of the things you said was a fallacy, and be careful about just because you look good together, you're cute together. You guys are cute together, though. You really are.
but we're even before all of that, though, both of us knew that cute wasn't enough. So we had to make sure that the foundation was right, because cute can be crazy. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, one of the things that we cover both in our book and as well as at GrownZone.com is the difference between attractors, and cuteness falls into the attractor category, and sustainers. Cute can bring you together, but it won't sustain your relationship.
Absolutely.
So the things that I admire most about Zara are what makes me love her, not just the fact that she's more than easy on the eyes.
Well, I'm sure that was a super duper plus. So, but you guys really, I was looking at that
heart,
picture,
which is more important than being easy on the eyes.
Ah, that's good, baby. Did you hear that?
I did. I'm loving it, just loving it. Well, then I have no doubt. Then you guys have really honed in on a real special and important area of most everybody's lives. And so I want to just hear a couple of reasons why you decided to go ahead and start teaching, training, offering principles and skills and tips to people, but you particularly the fact that you say Grown Zone. I was sitting and looking at info today. I was thinking, man, they ought to start that with the tweens, because the relationship information that's out here now, wow, I tell you, it makes your head spin, makes you shake in your chair. It just you kind of go, what? But what? Tell me about your message. Tell me what inspired you to tackle grown-up love.
Well, a lot of it is when you decide that your life is your responsibility, which many people still haven't decided, and it doesn't matter the age, because just because you have the adult right to do whatever you want to do, but every adult decision, every adult choice is not a grown decision, and so we make the distinction about the things that you have the adult right to do. Versus those things that are really going to be to your advantage as well as the advantage of those around you. So we decided to start teaching this because it was clear to us very early on, before we even knew each other, that people were not making decisions that were to their advantage. They would make decisions that they were coerced to make, that they were guilted to make, that they were, allowing other people's agendas to decide for them, rather than them doing it, making decisions that were right for them, which ultimately would be right for the next person, even if it didn't feel good to them. Because I believe we have a responsibility to grow the people up around us. I believe that. And either you're going to grow with me, or I'm going to have to grow and leave you over there. So we have those responsibilities. And so Alfred and I together decided, and especially after looking at the people's lives whom we love, not growing up, and realized that there was a gap with relationship education.
Yes, and that's what it's about, Silver Ray. It's about relationship education. And, we kind of chuckle when people say, oh, I wish you would talk to my teenage son or my teenage daughter. We can't get to the teenagers because too many of the so-called adults are doing the same things that teenagers do. And the consequences are higher because often they have children in their house, and they have, relationships that they're responsible for that are also being affected. The truth is, while we were born with the need to love and the capacity to love, we were not born knowing how to love. And unfortunately, we're taught otherwise. We're taught that it just happens, And if the stars align and if, God leads you to the right person, you're going to automatically know instinctively how to conduct, recognize, and establish and maintain a healthy relationship. And so the goal of the Grown Zone is to fill that missing gap, that lack, that vacuum in what is necessary, which is relationship education. Teenagers, young adults, and even so-called, even older adults don't know how to recognize and engage in healthy relationships, and that's why we wrote Loving in the Grown Zone. That's why we created GrownZone.com, and that's why we're now offering our intentional personal growth healthy relationships product, GrownAdvice.com. We need to teach people how to engage in relationships. So what we're about is relationship education.
And you probably figured out, Silver Ray, that this is not just about romantic relationships.
Right.
It's about relationships, period, because too many parents are ruining their kids and who are now adults because they think to love them means to give to them when they're lacking. That is not parenting. That's not effective relationships.
Right. Well, I totally agree with you, and it couldn't, I think in this day and time, it couldn't be more timely, and I really hope and pray that people will embrace that. We're living in times where we do need to listen. We need to listen to people who've experienced things, who are teaching, again, these kinds of principles, because obviously when you look around, you do see so many relationships that are just falling apart. What do you say would be some of the fundamentals that people should look at for building and strengthening a relationship if they're already in a relationship? What would be some of the basic things that you would tell them? I guess one of the things that comes to my mind when I think of relationships, I like them when they're easy. I like when there's a connection. I like when there's not drama, and I'm sure that would be ideal for most people too. But are there ways to find it? I mean, is there some type of way to detect initially or in a meeting or connecting that you may be looking at something that's good or bad for you?
Well, let me start off by saying, first of all, it's absolutely true, Silver Ray, that you don't have to wait until you're in a relationship to find out that a relationship is unhealthy for you. In fact, most of our work in the Grown Zone is about preventive education, so you can recognize dangers, red flags, destructive patterns before you put yourself at risk. So there's a couple of basic things that we emphasize everywhere we go. One, your preparation for relationships happens when you're single. That's when you're supposed to be, understanding yourself, loving yourself, preparing yourself, studying yourself, understanding what's healthy for you and what's not healthy for you. Too many people treat single life as just a time to kill time until their next relationship, when that's really your most important relationship development work happens during single life. And single life is not less than coupled life or booed up life or married life. But yet people have been taught that they are less valuable as single people, especially women, than they are as coupled up people or married people. And that's very destructive thinking. The second principle that we teach across the board is that the four things that you are taught, that we are all taught to give up to either get love or keep love, are the last things you should surrender to get love or keep love. And that's access to your body, access to your home, access to your money, and access to your heart, which is your emotional health and safety. But we are taught with movies and books and our parents and our peers and even church that if you get that special feeling, those are the first things you give up, often within hours of meeting a person.
Yeah.
And what that causes is so much human suffering on the part of the people in the relationships, as well as the part of the people who are related, especially children, to those people, because people are risking those four critical things right up front with very little due diligence on the people that they're bonding and exposing themselves to.
And giving the benefits of the doubt to everything and to everybody, rather than seeing somebody as starting at 0 and building. They're starting people at 100 and taking off as they need to. That is absolutely wrong, because you've been taught that you are supposed to be loving and accepting in that way. Well,
it's the whole anything for love thing.
No.
And guess what? It's not going to be instant. We do a chapter in our book where we talk about crazy love, and how crazy love just looks like healthy love in the very, very beginning. So another thing that we share on the Grown Zone is the 13 things you should know about a person before you surrender access to your body, your heart, your money, or your home.
Which they get access to through grownadvice.com.
Exactly. So it's not about, people say, well, how soon should you have sex? It's not about dates on the calendar or how many days have gone by or how many times you've gone out. It's about how well do I know this person? And so there's no way to instantaneously know a person, but we give you a checklist at grownadvice.com of the 13 things you should know before you expose any of that to a person. And the whole point of dating and getting to know someone, or dating, is to get to know someone, not to give up everything and hope that they're going to treat you the way you're supposed to be treated.
And if you withhold those 4 things, the reality is within a couple months, people really start to reveal who they are. And if they start to reveal who they are, then there's no harm. There's nothing lost. There's no bonding that has actually happened that make you feel like you need to hold on to that thing any longer than is necessary. It's okay to just be friends at that point.
Because once you provide access to your body, your money, your heart, and your home, you are in effect married without the benefit of marriage. You're bonded.
That's a real word right there.
I
hope
and
that
so what
way,
happens is people bond to people before they know them, including getting married, because marriage does not transform people. It seals what the relationship already is.
Mm-hmm.
And people get married thinking, well, the marriage is going to change everything. No, it's going to seal whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So if it's destructive and unhealthy before the wedding, it's going to be destructive and unhealthy after the wedding. So we emphasize what you can do before problems happen so that you can minimize the damage and the danger and the risk that you take as you get to know a person.
And so that you don't compound your issues with babies, with your finances and intermingling them and all of those things that we tell you to just withhold. We're not, we don't come from a religious space saying, don't do this and don't do it. No. That's not the point. The point is self-preservation to protect you. And people need to be more self-loving than they've been and not be so quick to just be so accepting of somebody who shows up and they're charming and charismatic and all that. Stop.
Cute.
That could all just be an act.
Fine.
Just be cute and fine and look good and drive the right thing, have the right house. all the attractors. Slow down. Pump the brakes. Because
Well, I was just going to say that you've actually answered a couple of questions that I was going to put out there for you for people having preset ideas about things or failing to enjoy a connection or a friendship before you advance too far. I just, again, hope people hear you. Once you've been involved with somebody, it's often very hard to pull out of what you thought may have been going someplace. So I'm glad that you've said all that you have. Tell us, on the flip side, tell us what the best kind of love looks like. You guys, I feel, set a real great example. I mean, you may even be in the more extraordinary category that you live together, that you work together, that you honor each other in the way that you do. So maybe we just need to know how you do it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to invite your listeners to engage Grown Zone. Well, you can follow us on Twitter in particular, but we're on every social media platform. But I actually shared a post just as we were calling into the show called Relationship Goals, What Good, Healthy Love Looks Like. And so if you go to our Twitter account, you'll see that's one of the more recent posts that we shared. In fact, it's at the top of the page. We pinned it to the top of the page. But here's what we focus on. There are sustainer characteristics that are common to all healthy relationships, both romantic and otherwise. And those sustainer characteristics goes to who a person is versus what a person is.
Or what a person has.
Right. So rich, cute, sexy, fine, funny, those are the whats, but they don't go to the who's. What you want to look for are what we call the sustainer characteristics. Those are the things that we cover both in this post and our book, Loving in the Grown Zone. And when you get grownadvice.com, we go into much more depth in terms of what you should be looking for. But these are things like commitment to fidelity. I mean, not fidelity to you, just people who are believe in fidelity, period.
In general.
In general. They believe in admiration. They're tender. They're compassionate. These are characteristics that people have to develop. And if either they have it or they don't.
And you can't give them yours.
And you can't give them yours. So if you have those values, you can't say, I'm going to love them into thinking and feeling and approaching life the way that I do. So the biggest thing you can do to avoid unhealthy relationships and to find and attract healthy ones is to develop sustainer characteristics in yourself and accept nothing less in relationships with others. Meaning if a person, they may be the most beautiful woman in the world, they may be everything that seems like your fantasy, but if they don't bring certain sustainer characteristics to the table, such as compassion, respect, we talk about the only authentic love is love that brings honor, esteem, and respect to everybody in that relationship and everybody in their environment. The reason why we have such a hard time finding love is that we're looking for other things and then hoping that love comes with it.
Let me ask you both this question because everything you're saying is so on point. But I want to ask this about love itself because you just said we're wanting to find love. Let me ask this question of you, too. When you came together, did you fall in love as we understand what falling in love is, or did you find love as you progressed?
I don't believe in falling in love. When you fall in love, you can fall into anything. And I believe in growing in love. And it can't be one-sided. It has to be what both people want. When I first met Alfred, and any man, I never understand people who meet somebody and automatically think that's the one. The only thing you're going by is how you feel around them. It's a chemistry, but you can't trust that when you first meet somebody because you don't know that person. There's no way to know a person unless you have spent enough time with them to see their patterns over time.
Patterns of behavior is what you're looking for. Love is about how you're being treated, not how you're being made to feel.
So if you don't give yourself an opportunity to get to know that person, to be able to recognize the patterns in their life over time and that their patterns match your values, then you don't know a person. So I don't know you. I don't care how fine you are, how cute you are. I don't care what you drive. I don't care what position you hold. I was not at all impressed by Alfred's status. I was not impressed by that. That does not impress me. I've met and meet men who are great men of stature according to a status, according to society. I'm not impressed by that because what often comes with that is a man with an attitude that I'm a catch, and if they meet a woman who's bought into the lie of the men's shortage, then she will do whatever she's got to do to hold on to him. Well, you can't treat me any kind of way. You have to treat me according to the way that I know I deserve to be treated based on my own worth, and I know my own worth. So you can't talk to me any kind of way. You can't. That as soon as that's off, we gonna fall out. And every woman needs to know her worth so that she will not fall into those kinds of traps. And every woman who knows her worth never has an issue of feeling like there's some shortage of men.
Let me tell you quickly what the characteristic was that did impress Zara and gave me a chance to love her. Tenderness.
Absolutely.
As we got to know each other, tenderness became a key discussion point, and she realized she knew that tenderness was of value to her, being treated with tenderness. Again, it's about treatment, and I told her, I'm all about tenderness. Now, we didn't make each other into who we are. That's the other thing we always have to tell people. People meet us, and women will say, I wish you could talk to my husband and get him to be this way. And we tell people, we didn't make each other this way. We found each other this way.
Absolutely.
And we do a chapter in our book called The Makeover Artist, where people think they're going to find a lump of clay and turn them into the man or woman of their dreams, and it never works. So if you have your value systems in place, if you're committed to standards and boundaries for your own treatment, then what you do is you only accept and consider those people who are qualified to and willing and able and committed to honoring those standards and boundaries. So we found each other like this. We didn't make each other like this.
It's really about establishing your own agenda for your life.
Self-love standards.
When you don't have your own agenda for your life through self-loving, a self-loving space, if you don't come from a self-loving space and establishing the standards and the treatment that you will accept from others, which becomes your own agenda for your life and your own value system, then you will fall in line with other people's agenda time and time again.
It's the fact, if you're not serving your own agenda, you are serving someone else's agenda, even if you don't know whose agenda it is.
Yeah.
That's
well, you know
people
what?
who fall in bed with people repeatedly and say they'll never do it again. Well, they don't have an agenda for their own life.
Yeah, well, what I've heard you guys say, which I think is extraordinary, we only have about 3 or 4 minutes left. I knew the time would fly by, but the relationship, to strengthen them, build them, to recognize them, it's all about learnable skills and actions, which you guys do. That, everything that looks like, walks like, talks like a relationship is not the real deal. And I think it may be a hard pill to swallow for people, but I think you're absolutely really on point trying to teach people what you're offering them.
But there's a seed of hope in that, which I really want to make sure your listeners hear.
Okay, sure.
The fact that it is not just a game of luck and chance. The fact that they are learnable skills, that there are learnable characteristics, means that healthy, good love is possible for each and every one of us.
Yes.
It's not about who's the cutest or who has the most money or who has the best car or who has the best body. It's that if I learn to know what to look for and I commit to that and I learn to understand what's healthy and good for me and I set that as a standard, you can learn these skills and abilities, and that's why relationship education, such as what we do in the Grown Zone, GrownZone.com, GrownAdvice.com, and in our book, Loving in the Grown Zone, is to say you don't have to just hope it happens. You can learn what you need to know to guarantee that it'll happen.
Yes, just as it happened for us, it can happen for others, and it is happening for others who are establishing the standards for their own treatment.
Yes, well, it's awesome, and it's awesome, again, what you're doing. Can you go ahead and put out, again, all of the website information so that people will know how to reach out to you guys, to follow you everywhere that you're sharing your info? Can you go ahead and do that?
Well, you can find Grown Zone across any social media platform, so just search Grown Zone, you'll find us. But you want to go to GrownZone.com, GrownAdvice.com, where you can sign up for our Intentional Personal Growth and Healthy Relationships product.
It's a 21-day.
21-day. It's a great entry point for really learning how to manage your relationships and commit to personal growth. And then for the book, it's available everywhere: hard copy, soft cover, ebook. But the book is Loving in the Grown Zone. You can learn more about the book at lovinginthegrownzone.com.
And mention your show, please.
Oh, every Saturday at noon on Blog Talk Radio, you can listen to us on Grown Zone Radio, noon Eastern every Saturday. You just go to blogtalkradio.com/Grown Zone, and you'll hear me and Zara live every Saturday. It's also available as a podcast, so if you don't get the show live, you can listen to it on demand.
Yeah, great. Well, guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and I knew it would fly by. I'm really going to try to nail you down for another show sometime in the future so we can talk more about it quickly. We've got less than a minute, but what's your number one tip in a couple of words that you would share for relationship and love? What would be the number one thing you would say? Would it be just reel yourself in if you feel like you're falling?
Well, the number one thing is to realize that you do not know how to love. It's not something that comes natural. You do not know how to love. You have to be taught how to love. Just like you had to be taught to do your job. You have to drive a car. It's just like there's driver's education. There's every other kind of education. Well, what we got is some lover's education, some relationship education. You have to be taught.
Yeah.
Don't trust your heart on this. People say follow your heart. Well, it's leading you in ditches.
I've only got a few seconds to wrap. I want to thank you again, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Check them out, growenzone.com. In the meantime, be good, be blessed, and be awesome. I look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.